Hi friends, so today I will discuss some interesting things that may be happening on the East Coast and the West Coast. I will discuss the earthquakes that are happening on the West Coast and a volcano that is affecting the East Coast. And also we will touch base on the prophecies for America and a dream that the 8-year-old boy had recently about possible tsunami. So stay tuned and listen up, see what you guys think. If you had similar dreams or similar prophecies, let me know in the comments below. But in this video, I will just discuss it and talk about it, and we can choose to believe it or choose to ignore it. Okay, so the first one I'm sure you all have heard about a huge volcano that's happening right now on La Palma Island. It's off the east coast of somewhere over there, and it has been happening for the past 11 weeks. As I was reading the news about it recently, I noticed that it's still, like I noticed that today it's still active. It's still putting fumes and ash and all the things over the over that coastline on the island. And the scientists are scared that if the volcano blows up and a large portion of it will fall into the ocean, that will trigger a huge tsunami that will cover all the East Coast. And so that's one thing that's going on right now. While that's happening on the West Coast, in the past, according to the NPR.org, according to them, there have been 50 earthquakes happening on the coast of the Oregon. Um, the scientists say, well, they're not really big shakes. There's nothing to worry about. And but all of a sudden, there's like 50 of them in the past 24 hours. So that's what really kind of triggers a little caution on their side. And they're like, well, it could be something is waking up, something is happening down below on the ocean floor. It's off the coast of Oregon. So it's like 200 miles away from the coast. So they're stating it's the Blanco transform fault zone of the Oregon coast. It's always active, but the last 24 hours have been really active. 50 earthquakes in the past 24 hours. And the biggest one of them was 5.8 magnitude. So the scientists, as I was reading the news, they were stating, well, there's nothing to worry about, but they said there should be much more vertical displacement on the ocean floor to generate a tsunami. So at this point, they're stating there's no tsunami coming just by those active what's going on right now. But what they are worried about is the Cascadia subduction zone. If that happens to have an earthquake, they say there's a 30%, 37% that it can trigger something like that. And if that happens, there could be, that's very worrisome for them because it could trigger up to 9.0 magnitude earthquake, which can trigger a tsunami up to 100 feet in height, according to the Oregon Office of Emergency Management. So yes, the other floor is not as, it's not as scary for them. They don't think it will trigger anything, but if it does trigger the Cascadia one, that will be very scary, especially when we have heard a lot of I think they were saying the whole West Coast is on the trigger Cascadia line, and if that triggers something, the whole 3 states will feel it, and they will have a lot of problems: Oregon, Washington, and California. So as I was reading that, and I was like, wow, that's like happening in the past 24 hours. So what's causing it? What's that shaking is happening? Why? Um, According to prophecies, it's something that to be expected. Okay, so here is the recent prophecy that was given to America. It was in one church that people were praying, and there was a prophecy. I'm going to read it to you. So it says, since you have picked the paths of people, you have gained, you are drinking from the water that is not Jesus. You are, you have hidden the true water, and that is the Bible. And you are getting your energy, your I'm just trying to translate, so it's a little more harder, but it's talking about how people have gone away from God, and God is like he's stating, why have you done this? So then he's stating that since you have turned away from God and you have chosen to um, go the other way instead of going to God. He said a judgment is coming to America, and it will walk upon the earth, and the earth will shake. Big, huge waves will cover the coastlines, and people will be in deep. Um, they will be in a very. I guess people will be so scared that they will cry out to God. But the angel of death will walk around, and a lot of death will happen at that time. So basically, what the prophecy said was that God will walk upon the earth of America, the earth will shake, and a lot of big waves will cover the coastlines, which means not only the East Coast, but also the West Coast. All the coastlines will be shaken and will be covered with water. So that's kind of why we are talking about these things, like what can happen to trigger coastlines to go underwater. The East Coast, we know that if the volcano blows up, if it could trigger that, and people will have a lot of problems. And this brings me to the 8-year-old boy who had a dream. So, one of a little 8-year-old had a dream, and he woke up crying, stating that, um, said, "Mommy, there's water coming on the shores." It was big, huge water. The water was taller than the buildings, and he said there was a huge explosion, and a tsunami is coming. A huge tsunami is coming. In his dream, that's what he saw. And then he said, when the water went away, everything was frozen because it's winter. So that was his dream. And when the mom shared, I was like, so this could happen in winter. And we are all in, this is December now, so it could happen any winter months. Um, it will be pretty scary, of course. As Christians, we can always pray and ask God to forgive us, to forgive our land, to protect us. And if you do live on the East Coast or the West Coast, it's probably wise to seek God to see if He needs you to move. A lot of people have been moving from the West Coast, and some have been moving to the middle states just to kind of by the God's leading hand. But a lot of people have to seek God to decide what He wants them to do. I know we're supposed to move too, and we will move as soon as God tells us. Um, so seek God and pray to Him, seek His protection. He's the only one who can protect you and keep you safe. No matter what happens, no matter if that tsunami does happen, no matter if you are in a huge earthquake, if you are with God, God will protect you. So, of course, I heard a lot of stories that people have been told by God to move and they have not listened. And then, yes, they did have a lot of problems, a lot of um, personal damage and sadness and tears. So it's good to seek God and do what He tells you to do. And then, if He does tell you to move or if He does tell you to do something else, you should do it. And that way, you will be protected and under His protection and under His hand. So, hopefully, this was helpful to you. And if you have heard something similar, let me know in the comments. It's always nice to hear when people have similar experiences. Take care, my friends, and keep keep well and stay well and don't get sick.